Hello everyone, I'm Steve. Mark's around.
Hi, everybody!
That's Mark. And this is Smokey Steve and Mark. Either welcome or welcome back. And happy Saturday. It is the weekend, so we know what that means. Today's French roast with some unsweetened vanilla almond milk and a little sugar-free vanilla creamer stuff. Not bad. It's gorgeous out today. Oh, and of course an unfinished basement. With the whole shutdown thing, it's been kind of a running theme. So I hope everyone's doing well, staying safe, following your community guidelines locally wherever you are, because I know we're all in a different spot with this stuff, especially here in the US. Take care of yourself, the people you care about, and consider the person maybe you haven't met yet. That's my PSA for the day.
Aww.
I know, I'm a nice guy, aren't I?
Yeah, you are.
Depends who you ask. So we're going to pick up where we left off with our fair lady, Chantal Marie, Foodie Beauty, Big Beautiful Me, The Daily Chantal, and Foodie Beauty again. A reborn Foodie Beauty? We'll see by the end of this video. So, last week where we left off, she was having the biggest video, I think, was the fast food funeral. Which, did she fudge the timeline? It was brought to my attention, I had to look a little closer. I usually don't pay attention too much about trying to catch her in stuff, because people film videos out of sequence. But there was a bit of, considering she said she was going on, like, abstaining from something after a certain point, cutting the timelines up with that is a little suspect. I'm not saying she did or didn't. I'm saying other people observed that she did, and then they presented what looked like proof. So, that's them. That's not me. I didn't do that research. She talks about having to either leave YouTube or do non-food related content because it's just not working out. She did do a grocery haul of some real foods, so F the vegan stuff, and the stuff looked like a little more reasonable grocery-wise. It wasn't all high-fat crap and junk binge food, but it wasn't all, fruit that fell from the tree. It was somewhere in the middle. So, this is my favorite Chantal, as far as cycles that she goes through, if people have identified a cycle that Chantal goes through. This is my favorite version of Chantal, if you will, when she's a little more reserved and a little more thoughtful and a little more pensive. Acting? But, even so, it's my favorite character that she plays if she's acting. So, I mean, I'll take it over the burping, farting, version of herself. She says that's her true self, and she's stifled if she can't live out that persona. But, that's her. So, starting with, I choose life over food. And the thumbnail says, I want to live, and then there's like a lush haul. She's looking good. There is a new intro. It is not the Foodie Beauty one, where it's raining donuts. So she's going to do a chat, and then she's going to do a lush haul. So we're trying to steer away from food at the moment. New set, new lightings, new backdrop. It looks like she's in her room. The cat's making noises that I can't identify. I have a cat. My cat doesn't make that noise. Not saying the cat's in distress. I don't think it is. But it's peculiar and still comes in front of the camera. I guess some stuff doesn't really change too much. She hadn't posted in a few days, so just want to check in with everybody. She's adjusting to not having her crutch, which is the fast food, which she said she's going without, and she's having probably mostly psychological withdrawals from something like that with food, because I understand there can be some physical stuff with it, but mostly she probably just wants it and is white-knuckling not eating it. White-knuckling works to a degree, but it's usually not a long-term solution for people that are hooked on a substance. It can work for a while, but if you're white-knuckling it, you're going to be miserable, because all you're thinking about is what you want to do that you can't do. It's not a comfortable way to navigate addiction recovery. It's a harder road to take. She's struggling because other YouTubers can eat things that she can't eat. Okay, I have a history with some food issues, to put it modestly. I was sicker than some, not as sick as other people. And your relationship with food at the beginning of recovery is different. Well, certainly in the thick of it, it's different. But even afterwards, I can't eat the way everybody else eats. I can't, pig out one night without feeling emotionally different the next morning. It's mostly the emotional swings that I have after I eat food, or if I don't eat food, or using food to regulate my emotions. I feel sad. I'll eat and then I'll feel numb. Not so much better, but numb. I'm angry, I'll eat. We've seen angry McDonald's mukbangs a few times, and she, like, hate eats. Like I used to hate drink. And she just looks pissed. So, the relationship with food is different, and it's gonna feel awkward and uncomfortable, I think, at the beginning. So I can appreciate that she's, not feeling quite herself at the moment, assuming she's doing what she says she's doing. And, of course, with Chantal, it's all grain of salt. So, but this narrative that she has going is that she's having a hard time. The new intro is because it's a new life. It's a new life. That was 3 days ago. So, Timbit, Pete's cat, actually, got to come over in an unrelated to weight news, which is cool, because I thought she was going to put her foot down and say, my cat's not your cat. But the cat's there. I'm glad Pete's has someone to kind of hang with. Pete seems like a cat kind of guy. So, that's good for him. So, let's see. The channel direction. Now that there's no food, what is she going to do? A struggle is an opportunity, she said. Maybe documenting it, maybe not. To inspire other people. And change her life. Yes, she's 36. There's still good times to be had. 36 isn't old. Well, I better not be. I'm like 37. I'll be 38 this year. What the hell's the date? Like 6 weeks. I'll be 38. So life can start over at any given time. She's not past her prime exactly. Well, she could be. It's up to her if she is or isn't. People always say, you're so young, you have your whole life ahead of you. You might, if you knock it off. It depends on us what we do, So, white knuckling, like she said at nights, I can appreciate if she is doing this. I'll say this. Let's talk like this is actually happening. Okay, if she's white knuckling it through the night, going through binges, that's hard. White knuckling nights of trying to not get your fix is tough. You just talk yourself to sleep, numb yourself to sleep, putting on the Weather Channel or Sirius, anything to radio, noise, another fix. You don't eat, so you smoke a little, you have some gummies, you figure something else out to try to do to put yourself down. So that's hard. It is very hard. Assuming that's what she's doing, that's hard. She's going to do vlogs and journeys, and people will join her, and she doesn't want to let anybody down, though. So that's the thing. She knows people will get on board with her if she starts a weight loss journey. And a lot of people run to her support, and she says even other old haters will come back and say, I'm sorry I said this about you. Now that you're putting some effort in, I want to support you. She says later that that's not really support, but so she wants to take the role of being a healthier person, it sounds like, and using that to spread that message to other people. Now, as a sidebar, if Chantal actually got her shit together, and I'm not necessarily just lost weight, gets her mental health together, where she's not so unstable, not manipulating people, not playing games with herself, with other people, playing fast and loose with her addiction, I'd be the first one to come up and make a video and say, she did great. I'm so proud of her. Not that she cares if I live or die, but I would certainly put it out there. So, we all have the capacity to change. Most of us, anyway. You can at least change your behaviors. You can still be an asshole in your head, but you can change your behaviors at least and treat people differently and interact with the world differently. So, that's there for her. It's there for any of us. It's there for her, too. So, she was trying to inspire herself by watching weight loss transformations on Instagram. And they're cool, those before and afters. I like them too, and they were kind of motivating when I was trying to lose some weight. My high was like 390, and then I lost about 110. I got down to 180, and now between laziness and quarantine weight, I'm back up around 190-ish, probably. So, she's in the 390s at her last doctor appointment, maybe higher, which means probably over 400. She physically looks bigger. If there's any question about whether or not a person has a food issue, if a person's relationship with food and their consumption or lack thereof is to the point where it changes the shape of your body, something's going on. Like if you're eating so much that your body's bigger, or if you're eating so little that you shrink, There's something going on with the relationship with food, either physically or psychologically. Like something's happening. Again, I'm not a doctor. I've just lived through shrinking and bursting body types. I have stretch marks, and I've also seen my rib cage. So it's, I can see both sides of the spectrum a little bit. Again, I was sicker than some people and not as much as others. So, on a side note, she is so much more calming to listen to than the caretaking series I do. Chantal was a breath of damn fresh air compared to what I do on Thursdays. Just saying. And that's going to be a little different this Thursday, but stay tuned to that. So, Swollenormous, who I never heard of, but is apparently kind of a big deal, and is a handsome man, reached out to Chantal, and she made a response video to that. Apparently he does fitness, and he has a pretty tight game as far as fitness go. He's got a channel bigger than hers, and not giant, but 40,000 more subscribers than her from what I looked. And he did a video about her and reached out, and she reached back and said, thank you. I think this, would be helpful to me to have the support of a fitness community. Don't know if I'm ready, but I think I'll never be ready, so I guess I'm up for it. Please contact me. Please reach out to me. And from what I was able to gather, the guy is just really in shape and has a few tools that he uses to do it, and you can have access to those, some of them for money, to work on yourself. And there's a Facebook support group that you can get into, and it's private and stuff like that. So she seemed like she was gung-ho with that at the time. Let's see. She's interested, left a comment with him, part of the fitness community. Oh, and she wants to get rid of the CPAP. That was in the thumbnail. She mentioned it for like a second. Who doesn't want to get rid of the CPAP? You don't want to sound like you're going into space every night before bed. I know a lot of people who need them, and a lot of people who have them. And just to breathe, it's just such a nice thing to be able to breathe. I never needed a CPAP, but I remember the first time I noticed, it wasn't the first time I could do it, but the first time I noticed I could go up a flight of steps, and I wasn't out of breath. It wasn't like, compound that with the fact that I'm an idiot and I smoke, and it was a very bad combination, but it was one of those little non-scale victory type things. So, of course, getting off a CPAP would be exactly one of those, a non-scale victory. You can breathe in your sleep without assistance. That's a big deal. That's a nice little leap, So, at any rate, she put herself into his supportive hands. Thanks for the help and support. You can join his support group because she lists the information underneath in her description of where to find him and how to jump on board, and it's less than a cup of coffee a day to be in it, whatever. So, there's that, and then that was her response. It was like a 4-minute video. And then, being true to who I am. I just want to be myself. So, I gotta be me, So, okay. So it's been a couple of days since the previous video. This video came out, I believe, yesterday. Now, there's also a live stream that came out and went up and went down, from what I understand, where she talks a little more about Swollenormous and that whole situation. And I went through it because I found a copy, and it's like an hour and a half long. Pete's makes a cameo, and he talks for a while, and they BS about, I don't know, cats and food and cooking and stuff like that. I didn't find out that there was anything groundbreaking in that didn't come up in this video that was out. So if there was anything large I missed, please feel free to leave it in the comments to share said information. But at the moment, I think I covered it okay. So, she likes Papa Swole, who I guess the guy's name is, which sounds like a porn name, which is kind of hot, kind of not. And, she didn't like him at first, but she said that she did like him after a while. She thought he was kind of, like, not being nice to her, but she came around to it. They also happen to be giving this program to her for free, which is another great reason to suddenly like them. The diet part, she likes this philosophy. It's a, what do they call it? Elimination diet. So things get removed from your diet and then slowly reintroduced, I think having to do with inflammation. So initially you would cut out, like, sugar, grains, certain fats, certain foods that could trigger inflammation, and then introduce them back into your body slowly to see how your body reacts and if you should leave them out of your diet. I guess that's kind of, no dairy, things like that. As she's saying that, and she says she thinks it's a good idea, because I haven't gotten to the part yet where she cops out and doesn't do it. I'm thinking that's like the exact opposite of what your eating disorder doctor had said. Don't exclude parts of your diet. Don't eliminate large food groups. Don't eliminate anything. So I'm thinking, bad idea. This wasn't a good idea from the get-go if you knew what was going into it. If you found out later, whatever, but... So, she said she likes it on paper, but... Okay. Now, I'm gonna side with Chantal in some of the points that she makes about this, and I think I'm only doing it because I understand where she's kind of coming from. The difference is that her solution at the end would not be my solution at the end. Like, the conclusion she draws about how to go forward is not the one I would come to. We're all different, but it's not the one I would reach. So, she said she's not trying to cop out, and then spends 15 minutes copping out. Kind of. The elimination diet is a form of restriction, which is not what is advised. Should she just modify, stop with the fast food first? Those were directions she had gotten. Is it a year ago? Has it been a year already? Has it? Yes, it has. No fast food, no eating in the car. Basics. The basics. It's worth maybe looking at those again, because that was old advice and it was good. She said because she's addicted to food, it's depressing to not have it. Well, yeah, it's depressing to not get your fix when you want it. She's both a food addict and a food lover. That I can relate to. I like food. I like food a lot. It was my first addiction, to be fair, because I couldn't reach the liquor cabinet, but I could open the fridge. So I get that that's, a comforting thing, and I like different foods. You don't have access to a lot of it where I live in this part of the state. But I like different kinds of stuff. I like different flavors. I like different nationalities. It's the closest I get to traveling is to eat food from different places. And it's an interest of mine in cooking, to prepare foods from different places and experiment with new stuff. So I would say I'm a food lover too. But what addict doesn't love the drug of choice? I don't know too many. They hate it later. You hate it in the morning when you have a hangover, or that bloated heartburn feeling, which is the equivalent of a hangover if you're a nighttime binger, which I was. So, overwhelmed by the number of people rooting for her. Such a bad thing. Such a bad thing. I am curious that she finds an outpouring of support to be too much pressure, from what it sounds like she describes it, or negative, that, she doesn't want to let people down. But that's like, acquiescing to defeat before even starting. It's kind of like, well, she knows she's not going to succeed, and she doesn't want to let these people down, so she's not even going to try. That's not the most optimistic, positive direction to look at things, but it's also probably, quite frankly, based on her track record, the most honest thing she could have said, I think. Despite support, I think I need a different kind of help. She doesn't like online support groups. Now, I can appreciate that she might not want to do everything online or do an online support group. Now that everything is being done via Zoom, especially support groups, because I actually do a mental health group. And people don't like to do a lot of emotional stuff via Zoom. I've done one-on-one med checks with my psychiatrist via Zoom, but that's like all medicine stuff. I'm not talking about how I feel. I'm just telling you if it's making me dizzy or making me shake. So it's a little bit of a different discussion. I can appreciate not wanting to do that stuff. Now, at the moment, it seems to be that or nothing for many folks, but I can understand not liking it. It's a little impersonal. There's something more personal that you can do, which is have a therapist you can text, or even talk on the phone, or have support that way. But support groups like the one she's talking about, like via Facebook, can get crowded and feel really impersonal. And because she's something of a name, she might, even though it's a supportive group, get targeted, get flack. So she probably had some bad experiences and maybe just wants to stay away from that. She doesn't think this will work for her. It's just not for her. Now, there's something, and this isn't new, in the field of addiction called being terminally unique. No solution will work for me. I like your diet plan, but it's not for me. I think you have a great idea going there, but given my circumstances, ... I know you mean well, but honestly, it's just not a good time for me, ... And every reason in the world, like a person paints themselves into an unhelpable, unreachable corner. where no amount of assistance is going to be enough. And it becomes the perfect reason to not get well, to not make any progress, to not even try anymore. So that's not good. That's not good. I almost died from being terminally unique myself. My excuse? I have bipolar disorder. Nobody offers treatment that treats bipolar disorder and alcoholism and addiction. It's not fair. It's an unjust system. I've just been bounced around from place to place to place. The system sucks. But no, I was still bouncing around crazy and half drunk. I mean, no one was going to do anything about that except for me, you know. But it was a great combination also of me being slightly willing to do something about it, the appropriate help being available, and my willingness to even just kind of give it a try, too. So it was a bit of a perfect storm. The help was present. The resources are available to her because she's tapped them before and not taken advantage of them, or has for a short time and then stopped. So, you know, if we ask for help and then get the help and then don't take it, that's not necessarily always or often on the help of the provider who we've asked for help. So, as a patient, we have a responsibility that if we have an issue and we're dissatisfied with the help from a provider, to try to find another provider. I know it's different in Canada because there's different protocols and procedures for switching providers and wait times and things like that. So I can't say it's an easier task where she is, but I imagine it's a doable task where she is. What else do we got? Let's see. No online support. Can't do this. Can't do that. If you're different, people will make fun of you. So she kind of feels like she can't be herself by doing weight loss. She doesn't feel like she's this somber, serious person. I mean, you take the food out and she's miserable. I think that's why she feels like she's somber and serious. But she's still grieving a loss if she's not eating fast food. I think she feels like being herself involves the silly, arguably gross things that she does on her channel. The burping, the farting, which she calls out by name as saying, you know, she feels stifled, apparently, if she can't do those things. Okay, I don't get that at all. At all. But maybe it's not for me to get? I don't know. It kind of contradicts later with where she said she just wants to be treated like a human being. If you want to have a conversation with me about how you need to be treated with dignity and respect, and then fart at me with a face full of french fries, I don't want to hear it. I really don't want to hear it.
Amen. Amen.
Now, that's not to say that Chantal is a bad person. It's not to say that she doesn't deserve dignity and respect. But don't, like, throw it in people's faces. It's not love me, love my addiction. This is me, take it or leave it. That's how people with addictions and things like that corner family members and say, if you love me, you gotta love all of me, take it or leave it. No, people can piecemeal say, I like you, I think you're a good person. We're not talking about Chantal at the moment. I like you, I think you're a good person, but this behavior is not okay. And we're not even just talking about the burping and farting. That's like, whatever, that's her shtick. It's okay. I say, you know, she can have that. You know, that doesn't make her a monster or a murderer. She just makes noises. But if you're engaging in behaviors, probably more like the mukbangs and the heavy fast food overeating ones. If you're asking people around you to not give you crap about engaging in a behavior that's killing you, you're asking them to do something that's kind of a big deal. You're asking them to care and say nothing. It's a lot to ask some people to care and say nothing. So that's basically the manipulation that kind of goes with that. You know, when you lay it down and say, this is me, this is who I am, this is me, I'm real. And again, we're not talking as much about the burping and farting. You just draw a line in the sand with it and say that's it. Well, you know, a lot of people will walk away from that, you know. And they're haters, I guess, and they can go, and that's okay. But I don't know if that's the part of your personality that, I mean, is that really you? Is that all of you? I mean, I have this kind of idea of Chantal perpetually being the, like, flighty fat girl. You know, the one who is bubbly and makes fun of her weight periodically with her friends, and if goes out in a group, she's the third wheel, like she talked about in some of her stories, and she has a lot of guy friends, but no boyfriend. I mean, she had 2 over a long period of time. uh, and will be the one who drives everyone everywhere, uh, pick you up late at night. She'll pay for dinner because she's looking to be liked or to be useful and in that way. That's unfortunate. You know, I don't think she grew out of it at all. I mean, it's an identity for her. I don't know if she knows who she is without being fat. Without that being part of her. What is she if she's not fat? Would I care if she was a mukbanger if she wasn't fat? I don't know. Again, probably not my business to care, but it's difficult to watch somebody who, you know, overeating causes her to gain weight. She's gaining an incredible amount of weight that is causing health problems. And then she would continue to eat. So, can I be concerned? I'm allowed to be concerned. You don't have to care that I care, but I can care. I'm allowed. So, okay. No online support? I'm just backtracking because this was a long list of excuses. She wants to find her own way, even though she's failed repeatedly. She wants to find her own way, and she wants all the credit for doing it. Look, I know we all want to be the hero. I did it my way. Isn't that the Sinatra song? I did it my way. You tried it your way for years, and it hasn't worked. That doesn't mean it won't ever work. I'm the guy who's been a sucker most of this time as far as anyone who does videos and said, you know, I believe in 1,000 chances. I think I went to rehab 6 times. Okay? And I was in the psych ward 5 or 6 times also. People sometimes need a lot of chances to get well. And by the way, thank you, American taxpayer, because I was so destitute. I was on medical assistance, Medicaid, when I went for that treatment. I like to think it was worth the amount of money to keep me alive. You may disagree, but thank you for footing the bill, because it's very expensive. She is also in a country with socialized medicine, so for her, it's, you know, the same kind of the government's footing the bill type of thing. Taxpayer money is doing it. So, but I went a lot of times, and sometimes you need another start over, another do-over, another do-over. But the old thing they would say in 12-step meetings, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. That would be a fair idea of insanity. I heard another reactor. Who was it? So DC Media Girl had said, you know, the thing she thinks that would actually maybe put a fire under her ass, or even someone like Amber Lynn, because at their size would be a major health crisis, might get her attention. She'd be bedbound, you know, if something like that happened. And once she can't get out of bed, it's over. It's completely over. So, I don't know. She's kind of going to use her family and friends as support because she doesn't have any right now. She turned down a bunch of it because she didn't feel like it was going to be good. So she's chosen to have minimal support at this time. That's her call. You know, family and friends and natural supports are good in a way because they know you your whole life. They know your bullshit. They hopefully know when to call you out, unless you're the kind of person who dominates all of that and kind of manipulates the narrative in your own home of, this is what I'm doing to take care of myself. I mean, they're probably not blind. If a person says they're eating well and exercising, but they continue to gain weight, I mean, people aren't dumb and they're not blind. And it may be none of our business, but if your family loves and cares about you, it's theirs. So if that's your support group, that's cool. I hope you're taking advice from them and listening to the messages they're sending about their concerns for you. Because they've known you longer. You know, they know the real Chantal, I hope, by now. So hopefully they can get through to you better than any of us anywhere in YouTube land or Instagram could. People want her to turn around and be a fitness channel, and that's not who she is. Who the hell said turn around and be a fitness channel? And that she can't do that. First of all, I've never accused her of wanting to do a fitness channel. I wouldn't even care if she did mukbangs. It would just probably be better if she wasn't doing them at 200 pounds. At 200 pounds overweight, rather. But she can't. She can't. Mentally, she can't do it. She can't pull it apart. She can't pull apart her addiction to food, her eating issues, with the kind of content she wants to do. It's just, she can't tease the two apart anymore. Plus, I mean, just from a financial standpoint, the mukbangs and the other stuff pull 50, 60,000 views, and her other content is about half of that. I mean, if she's a businesswoman and she's willing to make the trade-off between health, She can say that she's proud of her on-camera behavior. Some would say it lacked a certain decorum, but I guess that's a matter of splitting hairs about manners or whatever. So, I don't know. The bottom line of all of this is that she says she's not going to change for anyone. For anyone, and she doesn't want to make her way to public issue anymore. So, how long do we give that? I think that's going to be back in a little bit, too. If you continue doing self-destructive behaviors, eventually you're going to self-destruct. I mean, that happens to all of us. It happens to me, it's happened to Mark. You know, we've all had our moments with it. If she feels that being true to herself means kind of behaving how she wants and eating how she wants and farting and carrying on, and that's her fun, jovial self, and that's what she wants to put out there, that's fine. People are going to probably have more issue with that kind of behavior than with the more subdued, taking care of myself, going for walks and vlogs and that kind of thing. She didn't gain popularity on her channel for making those kinds of videos, so that's not going to ring the people in, and it's probably not the kind of content she wants to make. So, I don't know. I like all the content that you make that you don't like and won't make a lot more of. That's as much as I can say about Chantal. So where do we go from here? Well, she wants to be me. So I'm predicting a home-cooked meal, because when there's no more mukbangs, period, the first step out is home-cooked meals, maybe healthy. Wouldn't even call them a mukbang. I know you guys miss my story times, so the first one will be a very probably PG story time over a home-cooked meal that's kind of healthy. Probably chicken and a vegetable and some starch with a lot of cream in it. Okay, different video, different lighting, I'm all out of sorts. As I was editing, she put up another freaking video. So we're just gonna tack this on to the rest of it, so thank you for sticking around. It's a cheese barbecue stuffed chicken cook mukbang with Pete's. This is pre-recorded, apparently, because at the beginning it says Happy Mother's Day, and it says pre-recorded. So guess what they're eating? Chicken, some kind of mashed potato, and a veggie. I didn't do too bad predicting. I thought the potatoes would be fattier. So, Chantal, you're a good cook. Your knife skills, you gotta step it up there. If you want to see if someone can cook, usually you ask them to either make scrambled eggs or like peel an onion. But she makes barbecue sauce. It's like doctored up store-bought barbecue sauce for the chicken, which she's gonna stuff with cheese as well and onions. I make my barbecue sauce the same way. Great addition that I use to mine sometimes. You either love it or you think it's gross. Orange marmalade. 2 ingredients. Store-bought barbecue sauce and orange marmalade. Just a glob of it. It's very tasty on pork. In the background, there are so many boxes. Pete's comes in, he stirs some onions for a little bit, and they shoot into the living room. There are so many boxes that look like they haven't been unpacked. They moved in April 15th. This was filmed May 15th. They've both been home for a month. Aside from a few trips to the fast food place, maybe a visit to see the parents, they said, on Mother's Day. Pete's has been working from home. Chantal works from home. So, let's get to, you know? Let's see. There are some very unflattering shots of Chantal in this video. And by unflattering, I mean her shirt comes up over her stomach and a little bit over her love handles when she's leaning over the sink, and then when she turns around, her belly is sticking out. Now, one of the things I usually give Chantal credit for is that she's not sloppy. When I say that, I mean hair done, makeup done. I mean, she's either, it rains or, you know, when it rains, it pours. I mean, when she has the top bun and the no makeup and she doesn't cover her thin spots. I've seen 1,000 of those. But often enough, she'll have hair, makeup, you know, clothing that she repeats a lot of the same clothes. But like I said, it's hard to find clothes that you like and that fit you when you're that size. Yeah, I don't. So at any rate, it was very unflattering, the shots she got, but she chose to leave them in. We are all the editor of our own channel. We are all the creators of content on our own channel. And none of us are drafted to work on YouTube. So if we choose to make a channel, and then choose to have content, and then choose not to edit out unflattering stuff, we are going to get unflattering comments, probably. Because, no, it shouldn't matter what any of us look like. It should be the content of our channel, but of course the content is eating and burping and farting. So make a case for that if you can. There wasn't too much else. She had said that Teeth said they don't have a plunger. He's kind of a good king of the non sequitur. They don't have a plunger. Mark, of course, weighed in and said, get one today. Run, don't walk. It's probably a good idea, given Chantal's TMI story times, to have one of those around. Keats is worried about E. coli, he said, when they were washing and cleaning and raw chicken and the like. Meanwhile, the cat is sitting on the counter. Now, there's my cat, dragging his toy in his teeth. The reason I have a rule with cats on the counter and cats on the table is because cats walk around in their own excrement. And then after they do that, they walk on surfaces and stuff. That's to me not okay. It's not just a mental hang-up. I think if you tracked his paws, he probably tracked shit all over the house. So we vacuum a lot, and we clean surfaces, especially if he jumps up on them, but he usually doesn't. So, let's see. I appreciate, Chantal, that half of this video was cooking, because I had just said, probably 8 minutes ago, I like cooking videos. I watch any cooking video, but I think Chantal can cook. I do think I agree with her when she says, one, she's addicted to food, but also that she loves food. She practically makes love to food. So I would eat dinner with Chantal. Her food looks decent. I would eat it. Said they're watching a movie later. Pete says porn, and she says no, we have to keep it PG. We can't not get monetized. Chantal says that pieces of chicken are kind of big, and they both complain it's hot. Wait 10 damn minutes before you eat. Like, what is so earth-shattering that had to be filmed right then? This happens in a lot of different videos I see where people are eating. What is the hurry? Like, I don't know. So, she says the chicken's a little too big, and Pete says maybe take smaller chunks, i.e., bites. So, I was like, there's Pete's with the dig. They're traveling for Mother's Day. They're doing it safely with gatherings. They're in Canada. They're closing things and opening things differently than we are here. We still have to wear masks in all the stores here, social distancing. I'm working from home until we can go into the office, and even then it's going to be staggered. And then Pete's has a short diatribe about people being socially responsible and wearing masks in stores and don't be a jerk about it and all that kind of stuff. So that's Pete's, a social justice warrior. So I get it. I toe the line between bedwetting liberal and whatnot. So I can appreciate his passion, I guess. And then Chantal talks about having 3 meals and what she had for breakfast and yap, yap, yap. So this will be the real ending. I'll try to edit the other one back to this. So that really not much more different than before. She puts out a video saying she wants to be true to who she is, warts and all, and then right after shows a mukbang from a week ago. So this mukbang from a week ago predates responding to Swole Enormous. It also would predate I Choose Life Over Food. It would have been sometime after or during the fast food funeral and the homemade cheeseburger. No, the homemade cheeseburger was Saturday. So the next day would have been that mukbang, I guess. Assuming that we're going in chronological order, which can't be trusted. And while I like doing review videos, I don't have an interest in looking at her hairstyle or the length of Pete's beard to find out what order they happened in. Unless it's really obvious, I don't dig that deep. So I guess we'll leave it there this time, and if she comes up with another video, we'll talk about it next week. So thank you all for watching. Please do subscribe, hit the like button and the bell on your way out so you get alerts. You can follow Mark and I on Facebook at SmokeySteveAndMarc or on Instagram at SmokeySteveAndMarc. Our email address and our contact info is all listed down below. Thank you for watching, and we will catch up with you tomorrow. Have a good Saturday. Bye.